What's going on, boys? Welcome everybody back to another video, another player review. Today I'm going to be checking out Team of the Season, Grifo objectives, and not only does he look a solid card, but he gets that strong link to that Fantasy Foot SBC. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but I believe it's Calgary, and I probably butchered that. But you guys know that Fantasy Foot card that was released, absolutely incredible. He gets that Italian Bundesliga strong link to him. Now, if you guys are new to objective, guys, essentially what we do, we go over all your objectives EA release, players and pack objectives. I give you guys my tips and tricks, and I also build you guys a squad builder. Now, I've already built a squad builder before this. I've already got that ready to go, and this is a little bit complicated because you need Italian. You need to play the games with a full starting 11 of Italians, which we'll get into in a second, but you also need to get Bundesliga objectives. Now, there's only two Italian Bundesliga players, which is Grifo and that Calgary dude that I'm talking about, right? So you're in a little bit of a position, so make sure to listen up, and I'll show you guys my way around it. We've built you guys a 20,000 coin squad that you can use and copy to get these done. Let's get started, boys. We've got score 8 goals using players with at least 4-star skill moves in squad battles on at least professional, or you could do it in division rivals if you want. If you do it in division rivals, you will get that along the way as well, because it's not in separate matches, and I think lots of you guys using your main teams will have lots of 4-star skill move players anyway. Assist 8 goals with through balls using Bundesliga players. So a through ball is going to be triangle on the PlayStation or Y on the Xbox. Score using Bundesliga players in 5 separate squad battle matches on at least professional or once again division rivals. When you've got win 8 matches in squad battles on at least professional difficulty with 11 Italians in your starting squad or rivals. And this is where it gets tricky, because you need a full starting 11 of Italians, but you've only but you also have to do these Bundesliga objectives, and you've only got you've only got 2 Italian Bundesliga players. So this is my way around it, lads. This is a squad builder that I have built up for you guys to use. You may be looking at it and you'll be maybe going like, wow, what a fucking shit team. No, I know, mate, I know, it is a very, very poor team, isn't it? But basically this is the best you can do, because unless you want to spend hundreds of thousands of coins on, you know, the more expensive Italians, but basically the number one key for the squad builder is going to be the bench, right, lads? It is going to be the bench, which I'll get into in a minute. Now, as you can see, we've got one Bundesliga player in this main lineup, which is Grifo. This gold Grifo is going to be your key. He is your key because he's the only player that you can start, the only like Italian player in the Bundesliga, except for that other dude, who I was saying is that Calgary dude, however you pronounce it, this guy here, but obviously he does not look nowhere near as usable, does he? So like, this is only Italian Bundesliga players. This Grifo is your key. Not only is he 4-star skill moves, you need to score the 8 goals with 4-star skill moves, but you want to get the through balls with him. You want to score a goal, get the through ball, because the through ball, you need to assist through balls with Bundesliga players, and obviously you want to get the goal, and yeah, you want to get the goal as well. So he is going to be your key. Now, we have gone for Moise Kean, who's only 3-star, so we are going to be subbing him off, which I'll use. I'll show you guys in a minute. Now, right wing, we've gone for Chiesa, who is probably the best card in the starting 11. 91 pace, 5'9", 4-star, 87 agility, some really nice dribbling there. Now, our midfield 3 actually isn't too bad. Burrell is going to be the most expensive, being 5,000 coins, but a very, very well-rounded, solid card with great dribbling. Tonali is a central midfielder, working that more defensive role, and on the right, we have gone for Pellegrini. It was between him or I can't remember the other Italian cam for Roma, but I did go for Pellegrini just because he's a little bit more well balanced and he's a more box to box, so he'll just fit the formation. Now, there's actually no gold rare Italian left backs, but we have gone for Emerson, who's got 80 pace, which isn't great, but it's bearable. He'll get the job done. Our 2 centre backs only have 70 pace each, but in game against the AI, you won't notice it too much. And once again, I'm going to say, I'll give you guys another tip in a minute, and you can simply just sub them off, but the other centre backs we're using. Right back, we've gone for Di Lorenzo, who's a solid meta card, and in net, we've gone for Sirigu. So we've got the full Italian team, because remember, you need to get the 8 wins with a full Italian starting 11. Now, tip number 1, the most important tip: fill the bench up with your best players you have, lads. Fill the bench up. You can have up to 3 subs per game as well. It doesn't hurt if you have a couple gold rare Bundesliga subs. If you got like search your club first of all for Bundesliga players that you can chuck on the bench. I've got none, so no crazily good ones. So I went out and just brought some meta Bundesliga players, or used him as an example. Diaby, who is 94 pace, and we've also gone for Forgan Hazard. These two right here are going to be obviously a lot better than what you're working with. Now, what I'd personally do is straight away, remember you can have up to 3 subs. First of all, I would sub Thorgan Hazard on as striker. So obviously don't start like this, go into the game like this. So you've got the Italian starting 11 because you're allowed to sub them off, it will still count. And as soon as you get into the game against AI, chuck a pause and sub your Thorgan Hazard on at striker. Now you've got 2 Bundesliga players, so it's all the pressure isn't on Grifo. You can get the through ball assist with Grifo or Thorgan, and you can get the goals with Grifo or Thorgan. Happy days. So that's your first super sub. Now you're going to want to go over to your big boy super subs. Now I've got my Maldini, my Ronaldinho, my De Bruyne. For you guys it might be a little bit different, but just chuck your best players that you have in the club on your bench. Let's say for example I sub on my Maldini at centre back, and I'll also sub on my De Bruyne in the midfield. So this is what it would play in game. That's all 3 of my super subs used, and obviously you got a couple Bundesliga players. It will still count towards the Italian objectives, because as long as you start the game with the Italian players, but obviously in game you're going to have Maldini, De Bruyne, or you're going to sub on your best Bundesliga player at striker. As I said, obviously you guys might not have your Maldini and De Bruynes, but in my case, they're my best players. So simple tip is, boys, we've built this Italian team, make sure Grifo is in it, he is the key. It doesn't really matter what Italian team it is, but you want a somewhat usable one to actually get these objectives done. So you've built your Italian team, make sure Grifo is in there. Now fill the bench up with your best players, and if you want to, you can chuck Thorgan Hazard, Diaby, they're just some cheaper gold rare Bundesliga cards I've used as an example, and I'll just sub on Thorgan Hazard straight away for Keane up top. So lads, we're going to go over it, recap it once again, and then we'll get into a couple more tips. But basically, TOTS Grifo, as you can see, we've got the score 8 goals with players with 4-star skill moves, which is going to be Grifo, and if you do sub on Thorgan Hazard, that's Thorgan Hazard. That is also going to be Chiesa, and I believe Barella's 4-star skill moves. Assist 8 goals with through balls using Bundesliga players. If you do sub on Thorgan Hazard, then you're going to have Thorgan Hazard to get the through balls as well, along with a Grifo. You've got the score using Bundesliga players, which once again is going to be either Grifo or Thorgan Hazard. Win 8 matches in squad battles, which is, this is the annoying one, which kind of messes it up a little bit, but you need the Italian players in your starting squad. As long as you go into the game with your 11 Italians, you can just make some changes, you can have any bench you want, and that is the beauty of it. Now heading into the tip number 2, lads, it is going to be squad battles. Now obviously we all know, I recommend doing these in squad battles. You don't really want to be doing these in rivals, but as you can see, you're given 4 games a week. Usually EA give you a couple good teams and then a couple lower tier teams along with the team of the week and the chosen squad. Now you are allowed up to 1 refresh a day, or you can play a game and then you'll have the option to refresh again. For example, as you can see, I've already played this game. I ended up quitting it. I simply did this just to get rid of a red card. This was a very good team, right? So now once I've played that game, I can refresh it by pressing square if you're on PlayStation, X if you're on Xbox. I can refresh it, and as you can see, it gives me a 185, an 87 chem, an 83 team, but it gives us some 77 rated with 53 and 52 chem. So obviously you're not going to want to be playing these teams, and you just want to keep refreshing it and playing the low tier teams. For example, this team, you got players off chem, you've got Cardi up top with 3 chem, you got 30 pace, 32 pace Dante at centre back on 3 chem. So you'd go ahead and play this one on world class. I believe one of the objectives has to be done on world class. So if you want to get the 2 birds with 1 stone, you'll want to play these all on world class difficulty. So you'll play that on world class, and then after you play that game, you could go ahead and play this one if you want, and then you'd be able to refresh it again. See, this one's a little bit better, to be fair. The defense is terrible, but it's a little bit better than this one. Now, what you could do, play this game, refresh, play another game, refresh. Basically, just keep refreshing. Avoid the high rating teams, because obviously playing 32 gold pace Dante will be a whole lot easier than playing, you know, teams like this, which I know it's still not a crazy team, but it's, you know, better than this team anyway. So basically, keep refreshing your squad battles, keep playing the poor teams that are very beatable, and just keep rinse and repeating. Now, as you can see, I'll remove my webcam for this. You can see under the squad battles rank, it says 4 out of 40 matches played. Basically, that's your game limit when points stop counting. If you go over that game limit, do not worry. It does not stop counting towards objectives. It just means that your squad battle points will stop counting. Alright, lads? Everything else will count, no worries. Now we're going to go on, head on over to tip number 3, and the final tip, and it is going to be chem styles. Now we're going to head on over to Footbin here, and I think we're going to use key, you know what, actually no, once Grifo is our main man, we're going to use Grifo as an example. Now I'm going to be using Footbin as well, which I'm not sponsored by them. Now as you can see, Grifo is up to 6,000 coins as well, because everyone is using him. So as you can see, get on the train before he goes extinct, but that makes sense that he's 6,000 coins. Now, as you can see, he's got some poor pace, but if you were to chuck, let's say, a marksman on him, as you can see, a marksman gives him +7 shooting, ignore the ads as well, +8 dribbling, +6 physical, and as you can see, lads, in-game, he goes to an 83 rated left wing, which means with a marksman, which is going to cost you 300 coins, he's going to perform 4 ratings above his actual base rating in game. A hunter puts him up to an 81 rated left wing, gives him a +10 pace, +6 shooting. Probably would want to stay away from a hunter though, because they are quite pricey. A hawk as well gives him a +5 pace, +6 shooting, and +5 physical. So you guys get the gist of it, right? Chemistry styles will make your players feel a whole lot better in game. You don't have to go out and buy the hunters, as I said I don't recommend, or shadows because they're expensive, but if you're chucking chem styles on your attackers, I could chuck a marksman, a hawk, I've got lots of snipers and deadeyes, I can just chuck some snipers on Grifo, a deadeye on Chiesa, and it'll make them perform a whole lot better in game, and it'll just make your players feel a little bit better, right? So that is just the main point of chem styles. Happy days, right? Get chem styles on your players, maybe some engines on the midfield, sentinels on the defenders, and you're good to go. Now, one last recap. Use this team, or a full Italian team with Grifo in it. Sub on a Bundesliga striker. You might have maybe a team of the 11 or something, but sub on a Bundesliga player at striker, which can help you with the through balls and the score using players with at least 4-star skill moves. Then you're obviously going to want to make your subs. You're going to want to sub on your best defenders, your best midfielders, etc, etc. And you're going to want to keep refreshing your squad battles, playing for poor teams, and go from there. Hopefully this video did help you guys out. It's a bit of a complicated one, to be completely honest with you. EA made this a little bit tricky, but I hope you guys did enjoy, and if you do have any problems, comment down below and I'll try my best to help you guys out. See you guys later.